सच्चिदानंद सद्गुरु साईनाथ महाराज की जय. Hello everybody, wishing you all a very happy Ram Navami. I am Preeti Rahul and I would like to present Sai Katha today on the occasion of Ram Navami. This is my husband Rahul and he is going to play the harmonium today. So before I start, I would like to offer my humble salutations to my mother, Srimati Vasanthi, who is here for my first Sai Katha. So I am blessed to have my mother here. And I've always got support from my mom, dad, my husband, my family, my in-laws family. And last but not the least, Shirdi Sai Baba, who is my Sadguru and I fondly call him Tata too. So he's graciously put all his blessings over me. So I thank him wholeheartedly for it. Before I start, I would like to say a small sloka on Sri Rama. Lord Rama protects us from all dangers. Dataram Sarva Sampadam. He bestows upon us the best fortune in the world, which is good conduct, good character, because he is the perfect man, right? Who has the perfect character as well as human conduct. Lokabhiramam Sri Ramam, one who is world famous. Ramayana is considered to be the most popular epic all around the world. People are still working on translating Ramayana, finding out things which are relevant in today's world. Even today it is applicable. Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham. I salute to you over and over again. Now, Ramanavami. So it's birthday of Sri Rama. Why else is this day significant? Other than the birthday of Rama. Well, it's a return of Lord Rama and Sita Ma to Ayodhya after 14 years of long exile. And in some temples, in some religious communities, they also celebrate Ram Sita Kalyana today, on this day. So Ram Navami is considered to be the most happiest and unforgettable day for every Hindu. The following day, which is also called the Dasami day, was when Rama got coronated as a king. Whole Ayodhya was filled with pomp and glow because they got a king, a ruler like Lord Rama. It was a period when God ruled over the world. Ramarajyam was considered to be the most prosperous and auspicious period because there was full of peace, prosperity, freedom, justice, no criminal activities at all. And everybody got what they wanted in abundance because Rama was always attentive and accessible to his people. He even went undercover at nights to listen to the pleas of his subjects and take a common man's perspective. Ayodhya was blessed to get a ruler like Lord Rama. And Rama is still inspired by so many people for his perfect human conduct and character. He's been inspiring so many succeeding ages, even today. Victory be unto Ramachandra Murthy. Pavan रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन साई राम। श्री राम जय जय राम, रघुपति राघव राजा राम। श्री राम जय जय राम, रघुपति राघव राजा राम। श्री राम जय जय राम, रघुपति राघव राजा राम। रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन साई राम। So we saw how Lord Rama ruled over Ayodhya as a king. He never felt the pride of a king. He always thought that he was a servant of the people of Ayodhya. So let us carry that over to recent times. Why did I even say about Rama as a king? It's because there's a reason for it. Just like how Ayodhya, the people of Ayodhya were blessed to have the presence of Rama in their city, which made the whole city prosperous. Our Shirdi is also blessed to have a Sadguru like Shirdi Sai Baba. Because with the advent of Baba and Shirdi, all the afflictions, all the sins of the people were taken care of by Baba. He begged alms in order to take the sins of the people, of his devotees. He even grinds wheat, as we see in Sai Satcharitam. Now, when I see Shirdi Baba, I don't see him different as Baba, as Rama, because both are one and the same. He exhibited the same qualities that Rama did. He was very simple. Baba is simple. He wears a very simple robe and he has a stick in his hand. And he goes everywhere and just begs alms. And he did not care about name or fame. He always said, Sabka Malik Ek Hai. Allah Malik. God is the real owner. He never felt that he was there to correct people or give advice to people. He always felt that he was a messenger of God. Now, there was an interesting characteristic of Baba. He never believed in mantra or upadesh. So, there's a story from the Sai Satcharitam which exhibits this characteristic of Baba. There was one old lady who was called Mrs. Radhamai Deshmukh. And she was loving Baba very intimately. She resolved to fast until her death, until she got Baba to give her a mantra or upadesh. She wanted mantra or upadesh so badly that she fasted for 3 days without water or food. Now Baba's devotee, another devotee, who is named Hemant Pant, he is a writer of Sai Satcharitam also. He went and said, Baba, so this lady, Radhamai Deshmukh, is putting herself through unnecessary tortures. If she dies tomorrow, your name will be spoiled, Baba. You should do something. So Baba goes and addresses to Radhamai Deshmukh. He says to the lady, Oh mother, why are you putting yourself through unnecessary torture? You are my mother and I am your child. Take pity on me and hear me through. Now here, when you see, Baba shows the characteristic of humility, just like how Rama did. He never felt himself as a king. He always felt himself as a servant. So the same way when he talks to his devotee, he asks the lady to take pity on himself. Now the story goes like Baba says about what relationship he shared with his Guru. Baba served his Guru for 12 years. Throughout the period he was serving his Guru, he couldn't think of anything else but his Guru. His mind was fixated. He never felt hunger, nor did he feel thirst. So, Baba also wanted mantra or upadesh from his Guru, just like how the old lady eagerly wanted to get from Baba. But his Guru had a different way. He asked 2 coins from Baba. Coins or dakshina. You might say coins is dakshina. Now, a Guru is considered to be very perfect and desireless. Why did Baba's Guru ask for Dakshina? Why did he ask for Dakshina? Now the highlight has to be given to the two things that Baba's Guru asked Baba. It was Shraddha and Saburi. Firm faith and patience. That's the Dakshina that we are referring to here. Firm faith in one's Guru comes when our mind wholeheartedly surrenders to the Guru. We seek the Guru as our sole refuge and nobody else. And we believe in the fact that he will take care of us no matter what, however our life goes. And patience is a very important virtue. Whether it happens today, it happens tomorrow, or it happens like after 1,000 years, we need to wait for our Guru's blessings to shower upon us. So those were the two things that Baba's Guru asked Baba, and he wholeheartedly gave it to his Guru. His Guru was pleased. So he narrated the story to the old lady Radhamai Deshmukh. And he said, Mother, do not try to get any mantra or upadesh from me, because I did not get anything like that from my Guru. All I ask you is just believe in me. Just look up to me. Whenever you have whatever you think, whatever you want to happen in your life, just look up to me, and I will look up to you wholeheartedly. Just like how the tortoise mother glances at her kids, whether they are close to her or away from her on the other side of the bank. She just gives her loving glances once in a while. For the tortoise kids, the loving glance of the mother is the only source of happiness and warmth. Just like that, we should also remember Sai Baba, remember our Sadguru Baba, and Sai Ma will always shower his glances on us. So for us, his glance will be the sole source of our happiness. So the only thing that Baba advised us was to remember his name, just his name. Just say Sai, Sai. and He'll remove all our shackles and would set us free from the chain of birth and death cycle. So, it's so easy task. It's a very easy sadhana, remembering God. But why not all of us take to it? Why is it so difficult for all of us to follow it continuously? It's because even to remember Guru's grace is required. To hear the stories of saints, Guru's grace is required. And being in the company of saints or satsang, it removes our body consciousness, egoism, takes us away from the chain of birth and death cycle, and takes us to God, to the lotus feet of God, whose pure consciousness. Now Baba says, even if you are not able to remember my name, He gives us an alternative. He says, well, if you're not able to do bhakti, if you're not able to do devotion, if you're not able to do meditation, just wholeheartedly surrender yourself to me. Take complete refuge in me, and I will take you across this ocean of samsara very easily. You will not feel the pain of being in this world at all. Now when I say this, another story comes to my mind from the Sai Satcharitam. Before the story, I just want to sing another song on Sai Baba. Sai Dayanam, Sai Kripalam, Sai Ananta Triguna Swarupam, Namo Sai Natham, Namo Sai Nadam, Namo Sai Nadam, Namo Sai Nadam, Sai Dayanam, Sai Kripalam, Sai Ananta Triguna Swarupam, Namo Sai Nadam, 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 Sai Dayanam, Sai Kripalam, Sai Ananta Triguna Swarupam, Namo Sai Nadam, Namo Sai Nadam, Namo Sai Nadam, Namo Sai Nadam. So once, a goat was brought to the masjid. This goat was very old and was about to die. Now there's a small background to this story. So there was cholera prevailing in Shirdi, and the local panchayat, which is usually headed by 5 big men, they made rules saying that no fuel carts should be brought inside Shirdi and no goats should be slayed in Shirdi based on some superstition. Now a Shirdi Baba, he never believes in superstitions. So he made sure that a fuel cart was brought inside Shirdi so that he can get some oil to fill his lamps in the masjid. And he also did the second thing. He made sure that a goat was brought to the masjid. So Baba is like, sometimes he scolds at his devotees, sometimes he embraces them, sometimes he is very calm and composed, sometimes he starts to play pranks like Lord Krishna. So he does all these things. So when this goat was brought, Baba asked his very close devotee, Bade Baba, to slay the goat and offer it as an oblation. Now, when I say a close devotee of Baba, this Bade Baba was really close. He always used to sit on the right side of Baba, and whenever Baba takes food, he also sits on the left side of Baba and takes food. And they used to share dakshina. Baba used to share his dakshina with this devotee. Now when he asked Bade Baba flatly refused He said, "Why should the goat be killed for nothing? I cannot do it." Baba turned to Shyama, who was another great devotee of Baba. He was an ardent devotee of Baba. Shyama went to the Vada. Vada is also called the lodge, to get the knife. But he stayed in the Vada and did not return soon. Now Baba turned to another devotee, who is Kaka Sahib Dikshit. When he asked Kaka Sahib Dikshit to do the killing, he immediately ran to the Vada and got the knife and was ready to do the killing. Now all the spectators who were watching this scene were wondering, this Kaka Sahib Dikshit, he was a Brahmin by birth and he never knew killing all his lifetime. He was making preparations to kill the goat, whereas his Bade Baba, who was a Muslim, did not want to kill it. Now when Kaka Sahib came with the knife, he tightened his dhotar and with a semicircular motion, he was about to bring his knife down. But he was waiting for the final signal from Baba. When Baba said, "Go on, strike," and he was about to strike the goat, Baba said, "Stop! What are you doing? Why are you killing an innocent creature?" Now Kaka Sahib Dikshit obeyed Baba's words and placed the knife aside. He addressed to Baba. He said, "Baba, your word is law unto us. We do not know any other ordinance, and we do not want to discuss or argue things with you. Whatever you say, and we should follow it, and that is our duty or dharma." Baba just smiled listening to this. Now from this story, we can see that there are three kinds of disciples. So the first kind, who are the best disciples, or the first category of disciples, they carry out their guru's orders just by guessing. Immediately they know that their guru wants this and they do it. The second category, or the average category, are the people who respond to the guru's orders to a letter without delay. And the third category keep on postponing the carrying out of the order, and they make mistakes at every step. So we should always strive to be the best category of devotees for Baba. And with Shraddha and Sapuri backing us, Shirdi Baba will make sure that our spiritual goal is not far enough. Sai Ram, Sai Shyam, Sai Bhagwan, Shirdi ke दाता सबसे महान. Sai Ram, Sai Shyam, Sai Bhagwan, Shirdi ke दाता सबसे महान. करुणा के सागर, दया के निदान, शिरडी के दाता सबसे महान. करुणा के सागर, दया के निदान, शिरडी के दाता सबसे महान. साई राम, साई श्याम, साई भगवान, शिरडी के दाता सबसे महान. साई सका, साई गुरु, साई प्रीत महात्मा, साई को सारे धर्मी कहे, परम पिता परमात्मा. जिनको सारे एक समान, शिरडी के दाता सबसे महान. साई राम, साई श्याम, साई भगवान, शिरडी के दाता सबसे महान. साई शरण की धूल को माथे जो लगाओगे, पुण्य शरण धाम का शिरडी में ही पाओगे. होगा तुम्हारा वही सबसे महान। सबको समझते वो एक सा, राजा हो या राग हो, वेद और भाव के मिट रहे कलंक को। सबको समझते निज संतान, शिरडी के दाता सबसे महान। साई राम साई श्याम साई भगवान, शिरडी के दाता सबसे महान। करुणा के सागर दया के निदान, शिरडी के दाता सबसे महान। साई राम साई श्याम साई भगवान, शिरडी के दाता सबसे महान। शिरडी के दाता सबसे महान। No, I said Baba. Outwardly, he looks like he is very engrossed in the world, but inwardly he is so pure consciousness, so much of Satchitananda. That's why we say Satchitananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj ki jai. When he looks from outside, he looks like he is very restless, just wants things to happen so quickly. But inwardly, he's so calm and composed and balanced like Lord Rama. He is never attached to anything, even to his devotees. To him, friends and foes are the same. Evildoers and pious are the same. And he saw divinity in all the beings. Even he was so compassionate even to animals. Again, another characteristic that we can compare to Lord Rama. He also had Vanaras as his friends, monkeys. So, the unification of Ramanavami and Urus, both the festivals, one is a Hindu festival and Urus is a Muslim festival. The unification of both and celebration of both on the same day bears testimony to this fact. It was Baba who made it possible, who made the unison of Hindus and Muslims possible. It happened in 19th century when the gap between Hindus and Muslims was starting to widen. So Muslims used to slay the cows and Brahmins were not given protection, and that's when Baba entered the scene and he made sure that he bridged the gulf between Hindus and Muslims. So he addressed them thus, saying, Ram, the god of Hindus, and Rahim, the god of Muslims, are one and the same. When they did not see any difference when they existed, why are their followers, their devotees, their disciples, why are they seeing any difference at all? Why don't we all work together in harmony? If you want to do some good unto others, don't try to hurt people, don't try to emulate others. That's what Baba said to his devotees. But since then, it so happened that Ramanavami and Urus are being celebrated together by Hindus and Muslims. And in Shirdi, Hindus and Muslims are like brothers and sisters. In no other place you can see that. Only in Shirdi, even to this day, that magic is happening. And we should thank our Shirdi Baba for performing such a miraculous feat. if there was any calamities that were about to happen to his devotees, he rescued them from it immediately. He had so much of love for his devotees. So, there's a story from Sai Satcharitam which I would like to quote here. A great devotee of Baba, who is Shama, he got bitten by a poisonous snake. The poison started to spread across his body. He felt he was going to die. He was going to breathe his last moments. His friends thought of taking him to Vittoba temple because lot of these kind of cases were handled there and was taken care of. Instead, Shama chose his Vittoba, who was Shirdi Sai Baba, and he ran to the masjid. Baba, when he saw Shama, got enraged and said, "Oh, vile priest, do not climb up. Beware if you do so. Go, get away, come down." Hearing this, Shama was greatly disappointed. He ran all the way to Dwaraka Mai, thinking that Baba is his mother and Dwaraka Mai was his home and he will be taken care of. But Baba got enraged and pushed him away. Where will he go? He lost all hope and remained silent. Baba, after a certain time, became normal and he said to Shama, "Shama, do not fear, do not be anxious. Believe in me. I will take care of everything. Now you go home and sit quietly." Thus Shama was sent home. Baba immediately called his two other devotees, who was Tatya Patil and Kaka Sahib Dikshit, with the instructions to the effect that Shama can eat what he liked, can move around in the house, but in no case he should sleep that night. He should not lie down and sleep that night. That was an instruction given by Baba to Tatya Patil and Kaka Sahib Dikshit. Needless to say, the instructions were followed and Shama got all right in a very short time. Now, the highlight here is not Shama getting cured, because Baba has cured so many people like that. It's the words of Baba. The 5 words that he used, "Go, get away, come down," were not targeted at Shama as it apparently looked. It was targeted at the snake's poison inside Shama's body. Such was the power of Baba's words. It was the most efficacious in even saving the life of Shama. Like any other mantra shastra or incantation, people use incantations to cure, but Baba's words at the snake's poison were enough to cure Shama. Let us bow to Sri Sai Baba for saving us from all such calamities and giving us all the remedies that are required for all these types of situations, and protecting us now and then like a child, like a baby. Like we are his child, and he's like our mother. We can always look up to him. मेरे साई तेरी मूरत रहे मन में, मेरे साई सगुण साई तेरी मूरत रहे मन में, यही वरदान तन मन तुमको अर्पण, तन मन तुमको अर्पण, पाऊं सुख समर्पण में मेरे साई, मेरे साई, तेरी मूरत रहे मन में मेरे साई, सगुण साई, तेरी मूरत रहे मन में। मेरे साई, मेरे साई, मेरे साई, मेरे साई, सबके मालिक तुम हो, सबके रखवाले, तेरी शरण जो आए उसको तू ही संभाले, सबके मालिक तुम हो, सबके हो रखवाले, तेरी शरण जो आए उसको तू ही संभाले। शिरडी के लाश में तुम, शिरडी के लाश में तुम ही तो हो मधुबन में मेरे साई, मेरे साई, तेरी मूरत रहे मन में मेरे साई, सगुण साई, तेरी मूरत रहे मन में। यही वरदान में पाऊं, यही वरदान में पाऊं, रहे तू ही सुमिरन में मेरे साई, मेरे साई, तेरी मूरत रहे मन में मेरे साई, सगुण साई, तेरी मूरत रहे मन में। मेरे साई, मेरे साई, मेरे साई, मेरे साई। Now the previous story that I said, when Baba was addressing Shama, he said, "Oh wild priest, do not climb up." Now again, the dialogue was not referred to Shama, it was referred to the snake. Now when you see it's a snake, why did he refer to it as a wild priest? It's because Baba knew the past, present and future of every being in this world. He is a wire puller of the universe. So snake in its previous birth was a priest. So that's why he addressed the snake as the previous, in its previous birth was it what it was. So it was a priest. So he addressed the snake's poison as, "Oh wild priest, do not climb up." Such magnificent was Baba. Baba always advised us to do dhyana. The reason is, when we do dhyana, our mind, right, it's very difficult to focus on one thought. It always jumps from one thing to the other like a monkey. That's why mind, in Tamil there's a proverb saying, "Manam oru kurangu madrinu." So it's like a monkey. It just jumps from one branch, just like a monkey, how it jumps from one branch to the other, it moves. So when you give it a sense object, it thinks about the sense object. When you give it Guru, it thinks about Guru for a second or for a minute, and then it goes back to the sense object again. Now, Baba says meditation is necessary because all our vrittis, in the mind we have so many thousands of thoughts coming to us, subtle thoughts coming to us. It needs to be pacified. So for that, meditation is required. He asks us to meditate on his formless nature, which is full of pure bliss, Satchitananda. When one is not able to meditate on his consciousness or an imaginary form or invisible form, he asks us to meditate on his physical form, just like how he sits here with all the decorations, with all the garlands, the crown with the kundals, and all adorned with so much jewels. So you can meditate on him from top to toe. He sits with his legs folded, his right leg across his left knee, and his left hand, the fingers of his left hand are spread across his right foot, especially the index and the middle finger. So he asks us to meditate on the opening between the index and the middle finger without ego and being humble. And when we continuously do that, we will be able to see his true form, his Satchitananda form. But we have to do continuously. We have to strive to do it continuously. We have to take some time every single day, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and do Tratak on Baba if we need to move further in our spiritual path. Because it's not always a guru who takes the steps. The disciple should also move a step forward to the guru in order for the guru to move a step closer to the disciple. So, on this occasion of Ram Navami, let us believe that we will contribute the 2 dakshinas that Baba requires from us, Shraddha and Saburi. And let us be assured that Baba will take us through this ocean of samsara and make us reach the lotus feet of the Almighty. So saying, I conclude this session. I thank everybody here for hearing through this session, and I thank Rama Devi, our coordinator, and this temple management for giving both of us this opportunity. We are indeed blessed to do this today on Ram Navami and get the blessings of Rama and Sri Sai Baba. Thank you. समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु